Number 3. Unidentified Schoolmaster. In August 1856, newspapers around the United States published an article about a bizarre incident that happened in Florence, Alabama. At the time, the city in northwest Alabama had a population of around 1,000. No names or ages were given in the story. A schoolmaster in the city had a tame sparrow which he loved. He brought it to school and told the students to be careful with the bird, or he'd kill them. One of the boys killed the bird when he stepped on it. It's unknown whether it was an accident or intentional. The boy was frightened about what the schoolmaster would do, so he left the school and refused to return. However, a few days later, the teacher convinced him to come back to school. After classes were done for the day, the schoolmaster brought the student into a private room. He then strangled him to death. Word reached the student's father that his son had been murdered. The father found the schoolmaster and shot him to death. The article did not say what happened to the father who avenged his son's murder. Number 2. Hagino. In December 2005, 23-year-old Hagino was a part-time teacher at the Shinmi Primary School in Uji, Kyoto Prefecture, Japan. In May, he began to have problems with one of his students, 12-year-old Sayano Horimoto. She was in the 6th grade. Hagino had given her one-on-one lessons, but her parents didn't like how he treated her, so he was no longer allowed to teach her one-on-one. Then an anonymous complaint was made about Hagino. The complaint said he was difficult to understand. Hagino believed that Sayano's parents made the complaint. Hagino also believed that Sayano was mocking him. She had supposedly called him weird. Hagino also had delusions that Sayano had attacked him with a sword and had taken over his body. Then, when it came time to schedule teachers to monitor students while taking exams, Hagino was not given any shifts. He believed that his problems with Sayano led to him being snubbed. On December 2, 2005, Hagino bought 2 kitchen knives. One knife was 11 inches long. He brought them to school the next day, which was an exam day, so there were fewer teachers at the private school. But by the time he got there, Sayano had completed her exams. A week later, on December 10th, Hagino got Sayano into a classroom alone. He unplugged the classroom surveillance camera. Armed with a hammer and the 11-inch knife, he walked up behind the 12-year-old 6th grader as she was sitting and swung the hammer at her, but missed. He stabbed her in the face, head, and neck 10 times. She then fell to the floor, and he stabbed her 3 more times in the neck. When he was done murdering Sayano Horimoto, Hagino called his father and confessed to the murder. He was arrested at the school. The people of Japan were shocked by the brutal murder. Japan famously has one of the lowest murder rates in the world. In 2005, the murder rate was 0.5 murders per 100,000 people. That same year, the United States had a murder rate of 5.7 per 100,000 people, while Canada was 2.04 and England was 1.38. Tragically, Sayano's murder was the 3rd murder of a young girl in just 3 weeks. On November 22, 2005, 7-year-old Ari Kinoshoda was kidnapped by 33-year-old Jose Manuel Torres Yeg as she was walking home from school in Hiroshima. Yeg had illegally moved to Japan from Peru using a forged passport. He was wanted for sexually abusing children in Peru, but he fled before he could be arrested. Yeg sexually assaulted Ari and then strangled her to death. He put her body in a cardboard box and dumped it in a vacant lot. Yeg was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. A week later, on December 1, 2005, another 7-year-old girl, Yuki Yoshida, who lived in the city of Imakachi, was kidnapped while walking home from school. The next day, her nude body was found in a forest about 40 miles from where she was kidnapped. She had been stabbed 10 times in the chest. 9 years later, in February 2014, Takeo Katsamada was arrested for selling fake brand-name goods. He confessed to the murder and he was charged. Then in May 2015, Katsamada recanted his confession and said he was innocent. There's no physical evidence that connects him to the murder. In fact, the physical evidence excludes him as a suspect. Notably, DNA was found and it does not belong to Katsamada. Nevertheless, Katsamada was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. However, many people believe he is innocent. As for Yu Hagino, he pleaded guilty to murdering Sayano Horimoto, and he was initially sentenced to 18 years in prison. But in 2009, on appeal, his sentence was reduced to 15 years because of diminished capacity at the time of the murder. If Yu Hagino served his entire sentence, he would have been released in December 2020. Number 1. William Slagle. In September 1989, 20-year-old Rex Copeland was attending Samford University, a private Christian university in Homewood, Alabama. Copeland was a junior in pre-law. He was also a star on the debate team. The coach of the debate team was 42-year-old William Slagle. Slagle was an assistant professor in the university's Speech, Communication, and Theater department. Both Slagle and Copeland started at Samford in 1987. Slagle was originally from Texas. He came to Samford from Mercer University in Macon, Georgia, where he had been the debate coach for about 10 years. Slagle was considered a kind man and very involved with his students. Once he bought eyeglasses for a student who couldn't afford them. He also paid the student to do odd jobs around his home. Before big debate tournaments, Slagle would have the team over to his home for dinner and they would spend the night. Slagle was also a talented debate coach. For 11 consecutive years, his team had qualified for the national debate. Under Slagle's leadership, Samford was ranked 30th nationally. However, Slagle was considered strict and he had high expectations of his students. This was especially true of Rex Copeland. Slagle thought that Copeland was a gifted debater and wanted to bring out the best in him. On September 20th, 1989, there was a debate tournament and Slagle's team decidedly lost. Slagle was disappointed in Copeland's performance. Months earlier, Slagle had assigned Copeland a topic to research for the debate, but he had slacked off. Copeland was having problems with time management and the pressure from being Slagle's star debater. On September 22, 1989, 2 days after the debate, Copeland's friend and girlfriend went to his apartment complex. They had not seen or heard from him since the night of the debate. They found his car parked outside. They got no response when they knocked on his apartment door and the door was locked. They had a security guard do a welfare check. Copeland's apartment was splattered and smeared with blood. In the apartment was the dead body of 20-year-old Rex Copeland. He had been stabbed a dozen times in the chest. There were about 30 other cuts on his body. Nothing had been stolen from the apartment, and there were no signs of a break-in or forced entry. The police checked Copeland's answering machine. There were a few messages, including one from William Slagle. Slagle was calling because Copeland had missed a debate practice. Slagle was informed of Copeland's murder, and he contacted the other members of the debate team to tell them. Slagle went to Copeland's funeral and gave his condolences to his parents. The police investigated several different angles, but none of them panned out. They noted that near the body were pages of notes for the debate tournament. They wanted to talk to the debate coach, William Slagle, about the murder, but he was avoiding them. Then, on October 2nd, 1989, the Shelby County Sheriff's Department got a letter from Slagle. It was mailed from about 200 miles north of Homewood in Nashville, Tennessee. In the letter, Slagle confessed to killing Copeland. He said that after the debate practice, he and Copeland argued. He followed him to his apartment, where they continued to argue. Slagle wrote that Copeland attacked him and he killed him in self-defense. Friends, family, and co-workers of Slagle also received letters he mailed from Nashville. A warrant was issued for Slagle, but the police had no idea where he was. A few days later, the Sheriff's Department received a letter from Slagle that was sent from Los Angeles, California. In the letter, he wrote he planned to end his life. But the police didn't think that was his real intention. They learned that just before he disappeared, he had withdrawn $10,000 from his bank account. Also, his brother was caught trying to withdraw money from his account. Slagle's rented car was found abandoned at the Los Angeles International Airport. The police thought he may have done this to give the illusion that he fled the country. They believed he was still in the United States, they just didn't know where. Television programs like Unsolved Mysteries, America's Most Wanted, and A Current Affair featured segments on Rex Copeland's case and told viewers to be on the lookout for Slagle. But he remained on the lam. 6 months after the murder, on April 3, 1990, 43-year-old William Slagle, wearing a business suit and carrying a suitcase, walked into the Shelby County Sheriff's Department. He calmly approached the reception area and said, quote, "I believe you've been looking for me. I'm Bill Slagle, and I'm here to turn myself in," unquote. Slagle did not explain where he had been when he was on the lam and why he decided to turn himself in. William Slagle went to trial in December 1990. Slagle's lawyer argued that Copeland was the aggressor and Slagle killed him while defending himself. Copeland was half of Slagle's age and he was a bodybuilder. His lawyer also pointed out that 4 hours after Copeland was killed, Slagle went to the hospital to get stitches to close a cut on his arm. The coroner said that Rex's wounds supported Slagle's claim of self-defense. He said it was frenzied, but he compared it to someone firing all the bullets in their gun when they felt like they were in danger. The prosecution said that if it was self-defense, why did Slagle try to cover up his involvement? After stabbing Copeland a dozen times, 4 of which were fatal, he didn't help Copeland as he lay bleeding. Instead, he tended to his own wound. He wiped down the apartment for his fingerprints and took the bloody towels and knife with him. He turned out all the lights and locked the door. He also left a message on Copeland's answering machine to make it look like he didn't know he had been murdered. Then, instead of cooperating with the investigators, he went on the run and hid for 6 months. The trial lasted 4 days, and the jury deliberated for 2 hours and 2 minutes. William Slagle was found guilty of murder. Slagle was sentenced to life in prison with a chance of parole after 15 years. Slagle applied for parole in 2001, and he was denied. He was denied parole again in 2007. According to several sources, Slagle died in prison in 2010 of natural causes at age 63. After Rex Copeland's brutal murder, the National Debate Tournament named an award after him. The Rex Copeland Award is for best performance by a team over the entire season. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, we'd really appreciate it if you subscribed. Also, don't forget to watch our shorts on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Once again, thank you for watching.